Hello and welcome to the Not a Guru podcast. I'm one of your podcast hosts, Tyler Smith, certified athletic trainer, certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm also here alongside the prestigious Dr. Heidi Cook. We are here to help you with personal development, personal growth, and really building a foundation that lasts you your whole life. We're so excited you're here today, and let's jump in.
Howdy ho.
Evening, how are we? How's the little man? How's life?
Life's good. Little man is good. He's, just keeping me on my toes as per usual.
I was going to say that's his job right now is to make
It's
sure you are never a dull moment and or never a second where you're not like, what's he doing? What's going on now? Has he hit
Yeah.
that stage where kids will go through this stage where like it's really loud and you're like, fine. And then it gets quiet and you're like, oh shit, what's happening
Yeah.
right now? And
Yep.
like have to go look. If it's quiet, something's wrong. Something's not.
I'll be in the kitchen and like I can see his playroom from the kitchen. And sometimes I'll be doing something in the kitchen and it gets really quiet and I'll look up and he's not in the playroom and I'm like, shit, where'd he go?
Then when you get
He
older, it turns into like that old man, like where the kids are quiet and you're like sitting there, you're like, hey,
yeah,
like you have to check, like, what's going on?
yeah.
You're really
He
quiet right
is
now.
Not only is he on the move, he's very efficient now. So like
That's
while
good.
he was been on the move for a while, he's just so fast now and he's pulling up to stand on everything, even if it's not stable. We've had quite a few head bonks.
Yeah, I mean, that happens.
And like his little chin has scratches because he'll like pull up to stand and then like it's too far away and then his chin just like drags down on whatever it was and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this kid is just gonna be covered in scratches and bumps and bruises for the rest of his life. But it's wild. But yes, he's good. Sleep is a never-ending revolving door of trying to figure this kid out. But
So here's a question
he's
I
good.
wanted to ask. Like, you've probably talked to both sets of parents, and then like, you've kind of talked about how he behaves and what he acts like. Is there one set of parents that are like pointing at you or Sam saying that was you when you were a little kid, or is it too early right now?
Probably a little too early.
Okay.
More so we've just like talked at this point we've just talked about like, he looks a lot like me. He got a lot of the Leonard genes, which I love, but like he also got like really good little traits from Sam. Like his eye shape is totally Sam. He kind of has like a little crooked smile, and Sam, when he smiles big, it kind of like goes off to one side too.
Nice.
And so like they share that, which I think is adorable. But more than anything, all of Cal's like expressions. So like he'll give like this little smirk smile, he'll like make this little shy face, he'll like raise his eyebrows. All of that is Sam. Like there are times where he gives me like a look and I'm like, whoa.
Like I've seen
So
that one
it,
before, but not from you.
yeah, he's very much like Sam in all of his expressions, which is really fun. So yeah, I'm with Sam and I all the time are just like, I wonder what he's gonna be into. I wonder what he's gonna, like or not like, and I wonder like, what he's gonna be good at, and I'm just really excited to like watch all of that unfold. But for now, I'm really not trying to speed things up at all because this phase that he's in right now is just so fun.
Yeah, and the rest of them are fun too. It's like you enjoy them each time you're going through them, but for sure that's the best perspective to have because there are times you're gonna like wish you could go back and just be
Totally.
a couple more days in that spot before it just goes so fast, and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know where everything went.
Yeah, yeah,
And the,
it's so crazy. Like there are definitely like I can look back and like recognize when there were like harder chapters for sure, where I had like a lot less balance and things were a little crazier. But like, he'll go to bed at night and I'll scroll through old pictures and just like you said, like if I could just, go back and spend like 10 minutes in that stage with like new perspective, you know?
Yeah.
And you just don't get that. And like, yeah, to be back in one of those moments when he was just like itty bitty would be uh, so cool. Like tonight, so normally after bath, Sam will take him out of the bath and do like, lotion and jammies and all that stuff with him while I'm like cleaning up the bath and getting his bottle ready and stuff. But Sam's out of town tonight, and so I was getting his jammies on. And like typically these days he's just on the move so much that I'm like literally getting him dressed while he's like mid crawl, sitting up, standing up, like he's just,
Yeah.
as my sister-in-law says, it's like stuffing a trout in a sock. It's literally what it's like getting him dressed every morning. So I don't really like see him just like naked on the bed, just like laying. And he was laying there tonight, and I was like, you are so big, like so tall. And like, he's not tall, but like, I was like, I remember when you were just little itty bitty. Like, where did that little tiny baby go? And I literally had that moment tonight. It's just, it hits you in like the most random times. And you just, yeah, like I love the little phase that we're in right now, but I also am like, what was it like when he was just like could barely move and was just this little itty bitty tiny baby
Yeah.
laying on the bed? It's so crazy.
Well, I think, unfortunately, I don't know if tall will ever be one of those genes that he's probably gonna.
Yeah.
But the thing I was gonna say is, and this is take at least a couple. Like you have to balance like spending too much recording time on your phone. You know what I mean? Because you kind of miss some of those. But I will say, and I look at them probably once a month, once every other month. Nothing in the world will make you like just happy, joyful parent as seeing kids on Christmas morning is like the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life because it is like this magical belief that like it's just insane to watch. It's so
Yeah.
like one of the probably one of the greatest memories of my life or his childhood of my life is just that excitement and that whole thing where it's like it just makes you just I don't know like you just sit there like want to just drink it in over and
Yeah.
over again because
Yeah.
it's like it's just a lot of fun to watch. And so get some of those videos because I watch them quite frequently. Like I tried to mix of like not everything, but like the bigger stuff and like Santa
Mhm.
Claus's gifts, like all that stuff. Just watching him just get so excited about those gifts was really cool. Really,
The
really cool.
craziest thing, like one of the things that I didn't think that like I would get emotional about in his first year of life is just like whenever there's a holiday and the holiday like comes and goes, I'm like, that was, like that was his first, whatever, and he'll never have a first. And it's not like he's gonna remember it anyways, but I will, and I'm always just like I remember when 4th of July. So he was like, just over a month old, and we were like thick in the trenches, and I was, so pissed about all of these fireworks going off over our house and all this stuff. But then like I remember waking up the next morning and being like, that was his first 4th of July, and I think that was his first holiday
Really? Yeah, yeah.
outside of Father's Day.
Okay.
Um, but like yeah, so it was I was just like, I hope we made all of those like special. And like looking back, we definitely did. But like that was the same thing with like Thanksgiving and Christmas. It was like, when his first Christmas kind of came and went, I was like, that was his first Christmas and now it's gone.
Yeah, it is. And it seems to just go too fast.
So fast. It's so crazy. Like everybody told me it was gonna go fast, but the fact that I'm sitting here staring at a 9-month-old, he's gonna be one in like an eye blink, and I
Yeah.
don't understand how that is possible.
And it's cliche, but it goes faster the older they get. It's just like you can't like when
Yeah.
you're in it, it seems so like it like just in the
You're
trenches of
just,
it.
oh, yeah,
Doesn't
because you're just
seem that
going. Like
you're
you're
going, and
doing the
then
things you need to do,
you
and then all of a
like
sudden,
blink your eyes and you're like, yeah, now he's in middle school and he's going to
yeah,
learn to drive in 2 years. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, where did this
yeah,
little nerdy kid that used to, watch cartoons with me go?
wild. My sister just registered her oldest for high school
Oof.
last night, and I was just like, how is this real life?
Yeah. My
Uh,
niece just went to high school this year, and I'm like, are they all out of, there's one left in elementary school out of all the little kids. And I'm just like, what is happening right now? Like, it just makes me feel really old. I mean, being that I am older now, but still makes you feel old.
I don't know what happened. Not to, this is like kind of on subject, but kind of not. I don't know what happened. I became a mom and I totally lost my sense of style.
Uh,
And like, it's not even that I'm like, clothes feel weird on my body or anything like that. Like, meh, my body feels pretty much the same as it did before. But like, the, I can't. I don't know what it is. Like I just cannot dress myself anymore. It is the strangest thing. I look back and I'm like, what did I wear? And how did I choose my clothes? Like it's just like, you make fun of, moms for being like out of style and, whatever. And I'm just like, I literally became a mom and immediately lost my sense of style.
I mean, I didn't ever have any style to begin with. I was the t-shirts, jeans, and shorts, but
I'd like
I
to think that I used to have some.
I didn't have any. I could tell you that much right now. Like just none.
Uh, yeah, it's just gone. Anyways, how was your week?
It was good. It's so we're recording a little bit earlier in the week because I have conference this week for us. So
Yes.
um good and bad. Conference week is always tough because pressure gets dialed up and then little things pop up that weren't really around, or we're kind of there. Just everyone gets that nervous energy, and then sometimes that translates into them, quote unquote, I have my finger quotes up, everyone feeling things that are coming up.
Yes.
But a lot of that is just nerves. On
Yeah.
the plus side, I didn't think about this till someone brought it up today. This will be my last indoor or track and field meet championship in like New Mexico ever. I won't ever have to go there for this specific meet because next year it's in Reno and the year after that we switch conferences. So
Yeah.
in theory, this might be one of my last championships in the old Kirk. And
Wow.
I'm not that sad about it, just so everyone knows. I'm not sad about it at all.
Feel pretty good about it
I feel
actually.
that was actually a pick me up for a day that was a little rough. That was a pick me up. I enjoyed that one.
Like, huh, that's not so
Okay.
bad.
Some good green chili and a couple good food places. And after outside of that, I'm sorry if you're listening from Albuquerque, but y'all got to clean that place up.
That's
It's not safe and it's not clean.
It's been such a running theme. Like this podcast has just become a shit on Albuquerque podcast.
I haven't heard anyone that like literally, I mean, we had a beach girl who was from there. And I was like, she's like, it's not that bad. And then we were like sitting there talking. She's like, it is that
It
bad. It's
it
just,
is.
it is.
Oh, that's so
I've
funny.
never heard anyone adamantly argue with me about Albuquerque. Like, no, you don't understand.
Nobody's ever
It's-
vouched for Albuquerque.
Well, and to make it worse, this is okay. We're going to be banned from just Albuquerque in life. We played a basketball game last week against New Mexico. And they're number one in a conference at home, like big rivalry game. They blew us out when we played there. We're in the staff section, so FYI, whoever sold their tickets in the staff section to like 10 New Mexico people, thank you very much. And they came in with like the flags, like New Mexico flags, and we're just like obnoxious the entire game. Just could not, yell at the refs, like all this stuff. And my wife looked at me and I was like, that right there is just Albuquerque in a nutshell. Just like just what my experiences have been. And so she was like, ugh. And I was like, yeah, ugh.
Yeah, no kidding.
So sorry, everyone. That's my little spiel on Albuquerque. We'll move on. But I leave tomorrow bright and early too. We were hammering this because I think I have a 4:30, 4:20 wake up call. Got to be out early to get to the Kirk. So Tyler's bedtime got moved up fairly drastically because I'm an old man and I can't do that whole non-sleep thing. That's not a speaking of like as you become an adult and get older, that's something you lose. You just the ability to like not go
Power
off
through.
sleep. The other thing you lose real quickly as you get older, the ability to how do we say this? Enjoy the evening before and not pay for it dearly the next day.
Oh yeah.
Like not like even noon. It's like, nope, I'm out of commission all day. All day I'm gone. Like it's not
Yeah.
gonna happen. Sorry.
Yeah. That's so funny. It's so true though.
At least
So true.
Clinton's at that phase where like when the rare occasion that does happen, he can take care of himself. When they're little, I was like, this he doesn't care that I'm hungover right now. Like he's just like, Dad, let's play Legos, and you gotta go play
You
Legos
gotta go play Legos.
because they don't know and they don't care. They're like, I don't know. What do you want to do now?
I'm
Sleep.
gonna
That's what I want to do, buddy.
build a giant Advil out of these Legos.
Exactly. Can we build
That's
a
too
shade
funny.
to go over my face so I can sleep? Just some sunglasses, something like that.
Oh god. We are so off topic.
We are. We
There's there's no way to string it together this week.
just put it together,
How do
just
we
like
get
last week.
here? How do we
I
get
don't
here
know.
every week?
I
I
don't.
don't know.
Do you know how many times I've asked myself that? How did I get here? How
How
did
did I get here? Well, okay. While there is no good transition, it is a poignant, timely topic because I was feeling in a slump when it came to my workouts. Uh, and we're currently in the middle of busting that slump. And today we're talking about slump busting our ruts, and what that looks like, whether that's, whether you're feeling in a rut or a slump at home or at work or life or fitness or whatever. When you're feeling like you're in a slump, how do we get over the hump? Uh, that is
you're just
today's
rhyming today?
episode.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things where a lot of people have asked us, especially people we work with, is like, I just get stuck, or I just get can't. Don't want to jump into like the motivation, but like small little peaks of like, how do I restart this engine real quick? Because I mean, I think we both and have talked about like how we can't rely on motivation because that's kind of a something that kind of weans and waxes and wanes and sometimes is great and not. But what are methods, like you said, in a lot of different areas of life that like how have we found value in doing something else or restarting the engine, resetting the computer, whatever you want to say, like
Yeah.
just little tips and tricks that we can help people with.
So when it comes to, so like, I think a lot of people also equate a slump with like stopping and starting. Like, I'm not doing the thing, and how do I start again? But you can also be in a slump and still be like participating in the thing and just kind of like feeling like you're going through the motions. That's how I felt when it came to my workouts. Uh I was still getting my workouts in every morning during the week, and that was all good, but I was talking to Sam and I was like, it feels not like pointless is the wrong word because it's
Right.
not pointless. It is very important. And that's why I've continued to participate in it, just primarily for my mental health. Um, but when it comes to like uh, purpose, I guess, like my purpose and intensity and kind of strategy, if that's even the right word, has, up until this point was very much like um just doing the thing, like getting back into a consistent routine, and like that was the mission.
Hmm.
And so like, my lifts weren't super progressive, my rides weren't super purposeful. I was just like, the literal mission was just get downstairs every morning, move your body for 30 minutes, and like that was it. And then I started to um add some more structure to it. But even then, I was like, this last week, I was kind of like, okay, I'm 8 months postpartum. My body feels good. I'm definitely not as strong as I was before I got pregnant. More so probably because of like just overall time, and what I'm able to do when he's bouncing around in the gym. Like I haven't been able to do a lot of barbell type stuff, just because I don't feel safe, like heavy back squatting when he's crawling around in there.
Crawling underneath. Yeah.
Yeah, probably not the best thing to do. So anyways, like uh just like finding some new purpose, and like kind of just reestablishing like, okay, what am I trying to accomplish here now? And I think that is like a good reflection question when you feel like you're kind of just going through the motions of like, uh maybe you've kind of already achieved like the goal you set out to do, but you either didn't realize it, or you just kind of carried on doing the same thing and didn't like take the next step. And so sometimes asking yourself like, okay, what's the next step and how do I accomplish that, is a good way to bust that slump.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing I do a lot with that is I try to just, I want to say pivot in a different direction. Like when I do my workouts, I try to pick an overall arching topic or like a goal for myself, whether that is like strength, flexibility, what you would consider like performance or like more athletic type stuff. And what I try to do is just pick something where what was my last thing I did? Like I did this. So if I'm just did a whole section on mobility, let's try something else. Let's try endurance or let's try something like that. And that's something I found throughout the course of my life is I need that switch up. And it usually comes for me like I try to stay ahead of it. So probably every like 3, 6, 9, every like 3 months at the most is when I try to change stuff up. And like
Yeah.
I try not to get in that rut to begin with. So and sometimes like if you know that is something that you do, you can plan it out and be like, here are my different goals. I'm going to start looking at workouts that support these or different structures or way that I can do stuff. And some of it is not necessarily changing anything, but changing tempos, reps, lifts, modalities, like all those things, and just what sounds fun and interesting. And like, how can I pick those different things? And there's two different ways to do it. You can plan it out and be like, okay, I want to do strength, and then I want to do mobility, and then I want to do power, which is like speed plus, weight, and then something else. Or I can just go through it and see how my body feels. And then one thing I do a lot of is I like deload. I spend a couple weeks on the
Mhm.
TRX or rubber bands just because I'm like, I just stressed a lot and like it feels good and then
Mhm.
kind of re energizes me. And then I'm ready for something else. So either of those two methods is planning out and probably pivoting, but having an overarching, like you said, goal or what's my next step or what is something that I'm not good at. You can do that too. Like
Mhm.
for a lot of people, especially that I work with, it's like, yeah, I'm real good at endurance. I'm real good at, speed. I'm not good at mobility. So it'd be like, okay, then it's time to pick something that we're not great at and try to make that our focus and our intent and jump into there. And I think looking at either the progression or in our weaknesses in the chain and just switching it up and staying ahead has helped me a lot to avoid any slumps.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that's like one area that we just hear about a lot is like a slump with exercise. I think a lot of the what we also hear is just like general slumps. Like I feel like I'm in a slump. I don't have energy. I don't, whatever it might be, like going through the motions in your day-to-day life. And whenever I feel this way, I will often like kind of reflect on, am I doing the little things? And Sam and I always joke about like, you do the little things consistently and it makes such an impact, and it helps you just like feel so good, whether that's not picking up your phone, first thing in the morning, or not scrolling, before going to bed at night, reading instead of scrolling, making sure that you're getting maybe some like breath work or, meditation time during the day, even if it's just like 3 minutes, right? Like all of these little things that you can like sprinkle throughout your day. And whenever I'm consistent with those things, even if it's just like doing deep breathing, like with my eyes closed, like as I'm trying to fall asleep, all of those little things, like whenever I'm doing those little things consciously, I feel so much better. And Sam and I always joke about like how uh, they worked so good you stopped doing
Yeah,
them.
I've done that before. Yeah,
like
for
like
sure.
it worked so good you stopped doing it. And so I'd challenge anybody to reflect on like what areas have you neglected, or like what little things have you stopped doing. There's this book called The Slight Edge. It's one of my faves. It can get, you know, pretty redundant throughout, but like overall it has really good nuggets throughout. But basically, the theme of the book is like the little things matter, and the little things are going to set your trajectory. So, enough little things in the right direction is going to have like an exponential, kind of growth effect on your day. You're going to have an overall like positive kind of cascade as these little things add up, aka the slight edge. But also the opposite happens. So as we have all of these little decisions, reading instead of scrolling, adding a vegetable to your dinner versus not, whatever it might be, like all of these little things basically create this quote unquote slight edge that can either really help you like propel you forward, or if we're consistently choosing, the maybe not so great choice, can have also that kind of exponential negative effect as well. And so whenever I feel like I'm in a day-to-day slump, and sometimes it takes Sam to point it out for me and vice versa for him, but like whenever those times come, and I'm like complaining about it, he'll be like, well, are we doing little things? And usually the answer is no.
Yeah, and I love that. That's great. The one thing for me usually in the day to day is that I've noticed, and I'm not trying to like tout my own horn. I'm pretty good at like I'm a very routine based human being. I
Yeah.
have routines down, and I like I like kind of as much as I can, except for like work stuff. I have it built, and so sometimes for me when I feel a slump, I have to talk with Linz or do something like I have to hit the pause button and do something like I have to break it a little bit. Like whether
Yeah.
it's like I'm in
Shake
this
up the
and I'm doing
routine.
stuff and be like, you know what, like Quentin's over at a friend's and we're, normally we do like, nope, we're gonna go have like beers and lunch together. Like I have to do something to be like, I'm pausing, I'm stopping what like my normal like just wheels in motion and like just shake it for a minute because then it just
Mhm.
feels more okay when I'm like, okay, because everything can just become kind of this monotonous, like over. And
Oh
for
yeah.
me, like I built into things like good habits, like trying to eat healthy and work out. And like those are staples. And it's like you said, it's not that they're bad. It's just like that is my daily routine. Um, but sometimes just like pausing it or being like, okay, what are we gonna do, this weekend? Let's go see a movie or let's do something that is not in our normal routine that kind of breaks us and like lets us look at it, shake it up a little bit. The other thing that, I think just to do is like even taking walks and talking with someone or like finding something that interjects some connection with people.
Mhm.
I think the other problem that we can run into is we get so stuck in a rut day to day that we like can be ships in the night passing from husband to wife or kids and you're just like, okay, what's our next thing? And then we have soccer and then we have this and like you're just going and you're there, you're just not connecting and having none of those like deeper conversations, which I say that tongue in cheek. I have a 13-year-old. He wants to have no deep conversations. Every conversation is like, yes, no, or like a grunt, like that, type of
Yeah.
like, but there are little nuggets. Like if you keep doing it, so like he and I do coffee and donuts every Sunday, and most of the time it's nothing. And then sometimes he'll just ask me a question because you've left the door open of like, hey dad, I was wondering about this. What do you think? And like I get that moment to do it. So sometimes even in the monotonous like things will peer up, and that's where you have to pause and take advantage of it and be like, you know what? I had this planned, screw that. Like if he wants to go do this and it's more important to me or more important for that I just try to really like bring that connection back or find a way to make it a little bit more impactful because like that's like I said, that's what I think Lindsay would say the same thing. We are very routine like based people and sometimes it gets so routine that we forget that there are other people and there's more important things than just that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great point. Like I am a very routine driven person and thrive on my little routines that I build into my day. Even more now that we have Cal. But like there was a point, I don't know, maybe like around when he was like maybe 4 or 5 months old, where I remember putting him down to sleep and being like, I literally can't just do the same thing again tomorrow because we had just done
No.
the same thing over and over and over. And while it was good, and I think it is good to have some routine, I was just like, holy shit. For me, like knowing that I'm going to put my head on my pillow and my eyes are going to open and he's going to start crying at this time and I'm going to feed him and put him back down. And then he's going to start crying at this time. I'm going to feed him and we're going to start our day and we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Like it was so daunting. I was like, okay, something needs to change.
Yeah, for sure. And just throwing anything in there, you know what I mean? When you can, is like, okay, nope, nope, not
Yeah.
gonna do this. Let's do something else. And like, and I can even be bad where I try to like interject. Like downtime for me is not something I do very well. I'm always like, I need to
Right.
be doing this, or like, what's really dumb, and I still haven't done it is. I was thinking like I always drive by this little new coffee shop in a neighborhood, and I've always thought like that'd be cool to go check it out. Still never done it. Never injected that like little piece of adventure in my life. I'm just like,
Mhm.
well, that'd be great every time I walk by. So those type of things were like you said, that whole like interject some adventure where you're like, well, this isn't a big thing, but at least it's changing, just the monotony of the day.
Yeah. Uh, totally. What kind of slumps do you get in at work?
I mean, I think for like me, it can be um so when you work track and field, like they're all different, but you have it like it's this is gonna sound crazy. Maybe it's Royism. I have very type A OCD people that I work with all the time, and we're on like a very regimented schedule that doesn't change unless we're traveling.
Right.
So we have rehabs at this time, we do this at this time, but I think the slump can be fatigue. Like, do you just like you lose energy when it's the same thing over and over and over again? And
Yeah.
so, like, you have to find ways to do a couple things. One, interject some energy, like, into, other than coffee, into like what you're doing, like with each other.
Or
But also, like, it can just be a grind. So sometimes the things that we try to do is like, okay, like, whether you can make it or not, it's kind of open ended, but we try to tell people, like, hey, we're going to go get beers on this night together as a staff. And just like, once again, the connection piece of like, let's not talk about work. Let's just talk about life and like have some beers, but just like reconnect with the people because like athletic trainers definitely have like this kinship together because we all like, what is, I don't, there's some term for it where like you've gone through something and you're like, you share the suffering
trauma
together.
bonding.
Trauma bonding. Yeah, we are trauma bonded together. Like, and I could go to Florida and find one. And within 5 minutes, we were trauma bonded together because we have some of the same things.
Yeah.
Um, whether it's difficult athletes, difficult coaches, like you kind of get in that, like, oh God, let me tell you about this story. And then the rabbit hole just opens. Um, but a lot of that is, breaking that, or the one thing that I try to do with my um staff, like when I can just see like the grind has been too much or they're in like a rut, is like, just like, do you have a reason to be here? Well, yes, yes, yes. Like, nope, you're going home. And they'll look at me and be like, what are you doing? Be like, go. Like, everyone will survive. Everyone's fine. I
Yeah.
want go do something that fills your cup up. I don't know what that would be today, but like, go away. And like, it's a force, like, get out. Just get out, like, stop being here. Because especially with our schedules, it can be like, you've lived it. It can be 40 to 100 hours a week. Just depends on the week and what's going on. It's usually never 40. I don't know any athletic trainer that puts in 40 and is done, but um for me, it's like, I want them to get away. I want you to get out of here and do something else. Like, don't be here, don't do stuff. Like, even if you work out, I don't care if, like, normally you work out in our gym, like, just go for a walk on the, like, go somewhere. Like,
Mhm.
get out of the place when you can and stop being there's definitely a feel of guilt. Like, you should be doing something more. Something else needs to happen. Or, well, what if Heidi comes in and I'm not here? It's like, Heidi,
Then that's
yeah,
okay. I can
that's
come back.
okay. Yeah, I'm still here. That person's still here. Or guess what? Maybe Heidi just doesn't get this small thing that she needs today. But usually it's trying to just change up that, or like try to get a connection with someone, and like try to get something bonded together outside of just the day to day work stuff that we do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's huge, right? Like, the two slumps that I feel are, one, kind of what you were describing, of just like almost like overwhelm and always feeling like there's more to be done and not giving yourself like this space from it. And how that can like just cause like almost like a resentment to something that, like, normally I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Um but then the second is, um and similar to what you said, just like getting some space from it for a little bit, breaking the routine. For me, it was like, okay, like, I need to, my office is in the basement. It's like, okay, get out of the basement, go for a walk, in the
Yeah.
sunshine, and get some sun on your face, and like, you know listen to a podcast and just like get some space, and then kind of come back with like fresh eyes. And that was always really helpful. But then the other thing, that I'll often do is like, sometimes a lot of my work is like the back end stuff, and like automating certain things and setting up, you know, funnels and the systems. And sometimes that like creates almost too much separation from like the human aspect of it all. And I can feel like disconnected. Like, that has happened a couple of times, like disconnected from like what the real purpose is, behind everything. Um, and I have to almost like unautomate certain things for a period of time so that I can like reconnect. And while that might mean a little bit more work for a short period of time, I think that time is also invaluable. And whether that was, you know, in doing what I'm doing now, or even like when I was in the clinic, I remember like, uh, uh, working through patients and just like, you know, bang, 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 just like busting out these like, appointments, and all these different appointment slots, and just like, bang, okay, got through that one, got through that one, got through that one. And all like, it would get to the point where like, again, I would feel almost like separated from like the human aspect of it. And I'd be like, hold on, slow down. Like, this is a human sitting in front of you, and this is, what they're saying and what they need. And like, instead of just, you know, doing the things that they need to do, like, how about we take a second and connect with this person,
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be hard to like slow down when productivity standards are, looming over your head, or, you're on your 11th patient of the day, or, whatever it might be. But like, that sometimes really like fuels why you do it in the first place, and can help you like reconnect to what you're doing.
Yes, and you are correct. And the reason I'm laughing is I used to have a colleague where because humans are this beautiful thing. Like that's why I joke with them a lot and give them a hard time. Like they're part of the reason, the biggest part of the reason I do what I do, because I love the connection and I love helping people.
Mhm.
There are days where we joked and we'd be like, you know what I want to do today? I just want to rake leaves because I don't want the leaves can't complicate it anymore. They're just there. And I have a job and it's done. And we used to joke like, there are days that the human element also complicates things so
Oh my
much
gosh. Yeah.
where like I make the joke, I was like, I should have been a corner. Like I should have just not had to deal with people because you just have people that like, while I love them all, some of them, some days you're just like, okay, like this
Yeah.
is okay. And it's like, um, and then you'll get another one that'll jump in and make you laugh and you'll have a good time. But there are some where you're just like, some people, what is the someone I follow on social media is like, some humans aren't worth humaning for. Like, it's just like
Yeah.
some people, not all, and that it's just a joke, but it's like, yeah, some days it's like, whew, they bring so much joy, but also so much complication to a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So when you're
Yes.
like automating on the ends, there are days where I was like, oh my God, I would love to just sit there. Like when I am on the road, I can be so productive when they don't find me. I was like, dude, I got so much stuff done today because I
Yeah.
didn't have a human coming in like every 5 minutes of my room. So
Sam always says his job in retirement is going to be like mowing like schools and parks. He's
yeah,
like, I just want to sit on one of those giant ass mowers and make stripes in the grass. He's like, it sounds so peaceful.
I think you would be good at the other one that I came up with. I was like, I was doing something. I was like, I found my retirement job. Told someone, I was like, I'm just going to go to one of those local breweries and just pour local beers and talk with people the whole time. That's all I'm going to do. Just like
Yeah.
everyone's in a good mirror with or mood when they're having beers and it's not complicated. You just get to hang out till 8 o'clock and be like, hey guys, we'll
Yeah.
just sit and talk and you can have a beer and we'll be fine.
That's gonna be great. Yeah. Sam and I have also talked about that. Like, let's say for the rest of your life, no matter what you choose to do, you make $200,000 flat, done. That's what you make. Doesn't matter how hard you work, or how hard the job is, or whatever. What could you do for the rest of your life, and what would you pick?
That's
That's what you're making, no matter what you do.
that's like an interesting trick question because you at first want to make it easy,
Uh-huh.
but then you would have no challenge and it would
You
become
need like
so
some
yeah, you need
stimulation.
something to yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. We've talked about like owning like a local
Oh,
bar.
that yeah, that would actually be great. Just like that's all
Yeah.
you
Because I think it adds, a little more of a complex element to it that would like keep it interesting. But, you could also just end up being like the mayor of the local dive bar.
yeah. Well, I think my thing though, and this is where I would almost prefer like I love that, but it would almost for me, I'd rather just do like the micro brewery thing because like
Yeah.
I don't need the level of like when you're at a bar and like people get
Oh yeah.
shit
No.
faced and like all that. I was like, they got easy hours, it's like 3 to 9. Like
Yeah.
it's usually an older crowd that's not ruckus, and you can just sit and like learn, gain wisdom, talk,
Yeah.
and like just chill. And like the other thing is, we were to a football game a couple of years ago. We were in the end zone, which you've been there
Mhm.
before. But it was so loud, and I was like, "How did I do this? Like, I can't even hear you talking. You're right next to me." So
Yeah.
that's another
Yeah.
thing when you're at those. There's usually like just sports, and you're sitting and talking, or they have board games and like
Yeah.
just easy. I could do that for $200,000.
Oh
Pretty
yeah.
set. Yeah, that'd be
I
great.
think like a microbrewery for sure or a winery. I would
Yeah.
definitely love to own winery because even then there's like a little gardening aspect to it with your vineyard and I could really get behind that.
Plus, a lot of them are dog friendly, so I get to see dogs every day, which is one of my
Yeah.
favorite things. Yeah, you're just
Well,
like,
if it's your microbrewery, you make the rules.
yeah, it's gonna just have dogs there because always we have someone at work who brings his dog to help with the geese, and he's my friend. His name's Odin, but I like every day, like you get to pet a dog, you're like the day just seems so much better.
Well, yeah, there's your HHQ. Sam and I like to hit each other with what we call HHQs, our hard-hitting questions,
Or-
at dinner. So there's your table talk that you can bring home to your families this week and learn what everybody would like to do for a flat 200K. You pick the profession.
Yeah. Because at first you'd want to do, yeah, it's tricky because you'd want to do something like you need struggle to make it or enjoyment, one of those two, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? To make it at least worth doing every day. Because if it was so easy, you're like,
you'd get so bored.
yeah.
I hear you. Anyways, well, hopefully this was a fun slump busting episode for you.
Slump buster.
Bust your slump to get over the hump. What did I say earlier? It was
I think
catchier
that's
than
what you
that.
said, something like that.
Well, anyways, it didn't age well. Hopefully this was a good episode for everybody, and now we can ship Tyler off to bed so he can get up for his 4:30 a.m. wake up call.
Just going to see my friends over in Albuquerque and all our listeners that are going, these will be gone by the time you know they
That's
listen to
right.
this, and they're
By the time
picketing
this episode
outside,
comes out.
picketing with whatever as my flight comes down because I'm making fun of them or taking jabs at their city. So
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for tuning in this week, and we'll see you guys next time.
thanks for being here. Appreciate it.